What is up, y'all? Welcome back to The Black Experience. Welcome back to another episode in Season 5, y'all. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning into this video. We are past 100 episodes now, so I want to thank you all for support for the past 2+ years of this podcast. If you are a new viewer, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and then comment down below, too, what you guys thought of this video. Today, as usual, I have a very special guest with me today. Today, I have someone who is the host of the East African Premier Music Festival, Madaraka. And they have a premiere coming up on September 6th, right here at the waterfront of this year. So without further ado, y'all, let's put our hands together and let's bring up Mr. Simon Okelo.
Yes, sir. Thank you
How
for
are you,
having
brother?
me, brother. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
This is amazing work that you're doing, and I'm honored to spend this afternoon with you. This is the Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, so people are probably in bars somewhere. People are gathering with friends and family, but we are here,
Yeah.
about to, dissect what Simon has to say today.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got quite some interesting topics that we're going to get into. And also, I remember when we were on the call, when I found out that you were Kenyan, and
Right.
me being Eritrean, I was like, wow, this is going to be a lot of intersectionalities probably.
That's true. It seems like lately I've been interacting with a lot of Eritrean brothers and sisters. Yeah, just yesterday and the last few days I've been talking a lot to a sister called Johanna E. I don't know if you know Johanna E.
I know a Johanna. I
Yeah.
don't know a Johanna E, though.
Johanna E, she's a rapper, an activist, a philanthropist, and a business owner locally from Seattle.
Wow.
And also Ephraim. You know Ephraim?
Ephraim Bunbuna?
Bunbuna.
Man, I've been
Yeah.
trying to meet him, man.
Yeah.
I have. I was gonna actually go to his coffee shop yesterday with a friend,
Okay.
but we had scheduled it for 5, and they closed at 5,
Okay.
so we had to move. But Ephraim's on my list actually of people
Yeah.
to bring on the podcast.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to a podcast interview that I had with him sometime last year.
I'm
year.
assuming it was a great experience.
Oh, it was excellent. It was excellent. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
we'll make it happen. It's crazy because Seattle is a big city, but it's still small enough where
Yeah.
you cross paths with people that know other people,
True.
and
True.
so. But
True.
yeah, it's great to finally meet you in person.
Yeah. Nice to meet you too.
This is
brother.
amazing. We got a lot to get into, so we'll dive in.
Okay.
If you want to talk a little bit, starting with your background, tell the audience a little bit about who Simon is, where Simon's from, and the journey coming here to the Pacific Northwest.
Well, I was born and raised in Kisumu, Kenya. Kisumu is the largest, it's actually the largest city along Lake Victoria. It's the largest port city on Lake Victoria. And Lake Victoria is the largest tropical lake in the world.
Wow.
But it's the third largest freshwater lake in the world.
Man, I
And
did not know that.
yeah, and Kisumu is the third largest city in Kenya.
Wow.
So I was raised in an environment where, if you walk for 15 minutes any direction, you're going to interact with fishermen,
Yeah.
you're going to interact with fresh fish from the lake, you're going to smell the lake, you're probably going to end up at the lake swimming, and as a teenager, we used to go to the lake on Sunday afternoons like this,
Mm-hmm.
to hang out with friends, but I particularly grew up in an environment where my mom was an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
For most of my upbringing, she worked at a local hospital, but after work, she was running a grocery store. And in the early 90s to late 90s, HIV prevalence was highest in Kisumu globally. It was an epidemic,
Wow.
And even today, the HIV prevalence in Kisumu is very high. And so a lot of parents were a lot of families were losing parents, and children as young as 12 years old were becoming parents.
Yeah.
So my mom, with her job at the hospital, she used to help a lot of children. On Sunday afternoons like this, she would cook together with a lot of women from our church.
Yeah.
She would cook for the children. They would come to our backyard and enjoy food, and some of them would end up sleeping there. Over time, some of these children started living with us because they really didn't have a home, and they were always chastised because they were orphans, and so our home became a sanctuary. And by 1997, our home was actually an orphanage home that was recognized by the government. And so it was called Young Generation Center. So that's where my work as a community organizer, as a community leader started from. And so I would go to school, come back to the orphanage home and help with managing things. Whether it was cleaning that was needed, I would help with it. Whether it was painting, whether it was a construction project, I would become the laborer. And over time, this was the kind of hands-on education that I received from my mother that I am now applying in the growth of Madaraka Festival here in the US and also back in Kenya. And so my background is really in community work, grassroots community organizing. Yes.
Wow. How did it feel to, and again, and let me know if that was part of the vision, but to, you guys were holding children that were orphans, and then over time it became a government-known orphanage house. How did that feel?
Well, it was a natural, my mom raised us in a way that you never knew who was your sibling. You just knew that everybody you lived with was your sibling.
Right. Yeah.
And so we began knowing that we were living inside an orphanage home when we started seeing Indians from our community bringing food there over the weekend, seeing white people in our community coming there during Thanksgiving with a lot of turkey that they had cooked, seeing the policemen dropping off, evidence that they had that were perishable, like fish that they had impounded from illegal fishing. They would bring it there. children that were released from juvenile detention but were not safe to go to their own home were brought to our home. So then we built a school inside our compound, and so that work actually gave me an opportunity to travel across Africa. I worked in over 7 countries as the field director for Africa, building orphanages across Africa, building schools, building hospitals, So growing up in that environment was really like a PhD program for me. Yeah.
So you were just so early on exposed to all these different cultures, Indian culture, the American culture, and just people from different. That is in my opinion, I feel like that is quite the honor, because when you're able to kind of see people that are outside from you, people, I think that is just it gives you a new sense of what the world is like, and you're like, oh, outside of my country, there are people with different backgrounds, different foods, cultures, and hobbies. So.
Yeah, totally. Even the children that lived in our home were not from one tribe. I'm a Luo from Kenya, but we had Kikuyu, Luya, Kalenjin, we had kids from Uganda living there, So it was a melting pot of cultures, a melting pot of ideas, a melting pot of characters, talents, And so even today, Madaraka Festival that I founded also depicts the image of what used to exist in that orphanage.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it's really a continuation of that work.
Yeah. So basically, the birth of Madaraka Festival, which you founded in 2014,
correct.
It was inspired by the orphanage house back in Kenya.
Yes, correct. My mother's orphanage home is really, literally, I was a DJ, after high school, like when I was in Form 3, I began bootlegging music,
At 3 years old?
Form 3, like my 3rd year of high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I began going to Nairobi, getting latest music from pirates. These are people who download music from the internet and
pirated movies.
Exactly.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Then I would bring it and then pirate it myself and redistribute it in my hometown and make some money, Yeah. And so in doing that, I connected with a lot of DJs in my hometown and I began DJing myself, And so in the process, I realized that I could a lot of DJs, they just wanted to go to a club or go to an event and DJ, but they didn't know how to organize their own events. A lot of DJs didn't have their own gears, they didn't have their own latest music. I was supplying all these things. So I realized that, for me to continue doing this, I need to learn how to DJ too, Yeah. I need to learn how to produce events.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also realized that the orphanage home also needed events for fundraising, for getting the kids together. Whenever we had like cultural days or World AIDS Day, they needed people who could put things together, whether it was a skit, whether it was a play. So I was always being told, we know you can do this, do it. We know you can do this, do it. And I was just doing it, Yeah. So that's how I've ended up doing so many things and being, the first to do something like Madaraka Festival. Honestly, from across Africa, I don't know who else is doing what we're doing with Madaraka Festival, where for the last decade, we've brought hundreds of African artists from all across Africa, not just Kenya,
Yeah.
Even Ethiopia, we brought Ethiopian artists. Eritrean artists are the ones that we have not been able to
That's
bring,
the next
except Yegi. You know Yegi, Michael?
Yegi. No, I don't know Yegi.
He's a painter. He does incredible...
In the area?
Yeah, like he has some installations. If you go to the Central District...
Yeah.
There are apartment buildings there where he has large installations.
Oh, wow.
He has street art. Like he has been commissioned by the city to do some incredible artwork. We have worked with him.
Wow.
He's Eritrean but also Ethiopian.
Okay.
He won painting competitions in Kenya,
Man.
as a refugee. Yadi Bojia is Ethiopian, but he's also the designer of the Africa Union flag. You know the Africa Union flag?
I don't know this one, no.
Yeah, so Africa Union is like the United Nations for Africa.
For Africa, okay.
They had a competition when they were updating their flag and their logo. They put up a competition across the world. And there's this Seattle artist, he works at UW, but he's a painter, he's also a singer.
Mm-hmm.
He won that entire competition, global competition.
Wow.
So he was invited to the Africa Union in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, with his wife.
Wow.
And he had red carpet, reception. And his design is the flag that people now know as the African Union.
African Union flag.
Yeah.
Man, what an honor to win that competition. I mean, he must be really good, obviously, what he does.
He's very good,
I'm going to have to research that once.
You should host all these guys. If you want to host them, I'll
You've already
happily
given
introduce
me
you.
3 names, man.
Yeah, and then here in Seattle, we also have Gabriel Teodros. He's also an author, he's a rapper, he's an incredible brother, activist.
It's very interesting, Simon. You're giving me all these names because the idea, as this podcast has evolved, is to bring to light all these creatives. And it first started in Bellingham, where I went to college. And now that I'm in Seattle with even more people, there's so many creatives like the people you've named that, I could bring to light and share people and show that, hey, man, there's a lot of, creatives out there, specifically even black creatives to shout out. But tell us, because you've been bringing up Madaraka a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about what Madaraka is. I know we know it's an East African festival, but tell us a little bit from its founding. It's been over a decade.
This is the 11th year.
The 11th year. Tell us a little bit about what the goals of Madaraka were from the beginning and kind of how that's evolved.
Well, the original goal and the goal that still stays to date is that Madaraka Festival was started in order to provide funding for an education, music, and art program in Kenya, where we would provide music instruments as an alternative to guns and drugs,
Wow.
I grew up in an environment where only the strongest could survive. Mm-hmm. And so in 2007, there was elections in Kenya that were disputed, and so from December 2007 to April 2008, there was ethnic cleansing.
Oh.
So youths were being given drugs and alcohol and guns and machetes, and they were going after each other.
Mm-hmm.
Around that time, I was a DJ. So I used my DJing platform to bring these youths together through the power of music. And that's how I discovered that I could actually even scale my capacity as an event organizer from just doing one event to bring people together, but now doing concerts, doing festivals, you know. And really, that's how the evolution of Madaraka Festival began.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, how are you able to, because I can only imagine, you know, you started young organizing people and bringing people together, but let's say, you know, obviously, you know, you can feel nervous, obviously, when you have a large crowd of people, and especially being the host, you know, there's a lot of pressure on you to make sure their event is running smoothly. I guess, how do you manage those kind of emotions and not let it, you know, paralyze you or stifle you, and you just keep going?
Well, the thing is, it depends with, like I think throughout my career as an event organizer, I have always been told that I am always calm, no matter how difficult the situation is, you know. So when you're working with artists, creatives, you know, and you have thousands of people in the audience, you know. For example, here at Benaroya Hall, in 2023, we had over 2,500 people that attended Madaraka Festival. We sold out Benaroya Hall, you know.
Wow.
And I remember being on stage with my firstborn daughter. She was 9 years old then, you know. And when she was 1 year old is when we had the first Madaraka Festival. So I was introducing her to the crowd. You know, I was telling her, today is the 9th anniversary of Madaraka Festival, but she is also 9 years old.
Wow.
When we did this event the first time, she was in one of those Argos. You know those little...
Oh, the little one you carry on right
here? Yeah. And now she's holding me accountable. She's telling me, you can't stop doing Madaraka. You have to keep going, you know. No matter what, you know? And so I know that it's not only my story. Now I'm doing it for her. Yeah. You know, now she saw the video of me with her on stage, and she shows it to her friends, you know? Her friends who have never even to Madaraka now know about Madaraka, you know? One day she will be able to tell her children that, you know, even though my father is not here anymore, this is what he did one day. He put me on the stage in front of so many people, in front of 2,500 people. Yeah. And this is what he said about me, you know?
Wow.
Do you understand?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's you're basically saying it's beyond you.
Yes.
It's not even just about you, and it's about your children, your children's children.
Yeah. So when I think about the purpose, the impact that what I'm doing has, it calms me down, you know. It helps me understand that, you know, I'm part of something bigger than me, you know. And so I have nothing to be afraid of. I have nothing to worry about. I take this as God's work, you know. And I feel like I am just a catalyst. I'm just a vessel, you know. Yeah.
That is beautiful. And would you say that's your why? Because you know how everyone has their why, their reason?
Yes, yeah. This is my life purpose. Yeah. This is why I'm here, to create a platform for the global African diaspora community that will liberate us. Madaraka means liberation, you know. And so...
In Kenyan?
In Swahili.
In Swahili, excuse me.
Okay. Yeah. And so... when you think about liberation, our forefathers have always said that unless you're liberated in your mind, you know, you cannot be liberated, you know, because mental slavery is the biggest form of slavery, you know, that exists even today. Even though African people were liberated from colonization, even though African Americans were liberated from slavery,
Yeah.
We are still colonized and we are still enslaved mentally.
Wow.
And the only thing that can enlighten us and liberate us are things like Madaraka Festival that show us that, look, we as a people can also do things where FIFA World Cup is doing things. For example, Pier 62, where FIFA is doing activations for next year's FIFA, is where we're doing Madaraka.
Right. Here at the waterfront, yeah.
Yeah, and we did it there in 2022. There were over 10,000 people
Oh my gosh.
for 2 days. It was headlined by Dibanj,
Wow.
you know,
Wow.
Emmanuel Jal from South Sudan. Dibanj is from Nigeria.
Yeah.
So you see, this is not a Kenyan thing.
Yeah.
It's not an East African thing. It's a global thing.
Global thing, yeah.
Yeah. In 2014, the first Madaraka was headlined by Macklemore.
Macklemore.
Yeah.
That was actually when he dropped Can't Hold Us.
Yes.
Yeah.
2014.
2014. He was like at the peak.
Yes. He helped us raise over $30,000.
Wow.
And we used that to build our first recording studio in Kenya, One Vibe Studio.
Wow.
It still stands today. I
That's
have an
special.
album as an artist that was produced at that studio.
Yeah.
You know, so this work is important work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that studio and our program in Kenya, you know, we produce Madaraka Festival here. We collect used music instruments. We buy new music instruments and production gears. We send it to Kenya. Then we distribute it to Uganda and Tanzania, actually. And some of the youths who have been in our program over the years are now big stars in Kenya.
Wow.
They're earning a living, not just as artists, but we also have producers, we have dancers, you know.
So you're like developing an economy back home. Dreams coming true too.
Even here.
Even here too.
Yeah. If do you know Avol Coffee?
No, I don't know Avil Coffee.
Avol Coffee was popular even before Bunbuna.
Okay. Was it by Ephraim?
No,
Or is
it
it
was
someone
by
else?
Solomon Dubi.
Okay.
Solomon Dubi is an Ethiopian brother that is doing great work. He has 3 locations. His first location was on Rainier Avenue.
Yeah.
Now he has a location in the Central District. He has another location in Georgetown. He has another location in Rainier Avenue. You know? But Madaraka was his first platform where he was pushing his brand to the public in a big crowd, where people are getting out of the venue, grabbing coffee at the entrance, coming back to enjoy the show. Chop Chop, West African cuisine.
Yeah.
The very first business that they had was, I asked them to bring West African food, Ghanaian food, to the artists at Madaraka Festival at the waterfront in 2022.
Man.
Now they're the biggest West African cuisine in Seattle.
Wow.
Every month they organize a big community dinner, and you can even order DoorDash from them. You know, they are just opening their first physical location, but they've been, providing people with organic, fresh Ghanaian food online. You order food, they drop it. You order food through DoorDash, whatever, you get the food through them. And you can track how their business has grown, and majority of their clients are Madaraka Festival attendees.
The post 2022.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it sounds like we definitely need to do a collaboration for this upcoming festival, you know?
100%.
All these businesses that collaborate with Madaraka, they just see their business sales and views just, boom, going up. But that's beautiful. Simon, you're Kenyan, and I'm Eritrean, and we're both East African. When I think of Madaraka Festival and the music and the culture and the impact that it's had and what you were just describing, you know, as two East Africans having a conversation right now, sitting together, you know, how do you see music kind of bringing together different cultures and closing that gap? Like, what have you seen? You know, I'm sure you've seen many instances, but describe a little bit about that.
Well, there's nothing that unites people like music, you know? Music is the only thing that, even if you don't understand the language that the artist is singing, you will feel the beat. You will feel something in the music. Maybe the guitar will move your heart a certain way, and then you'll move your feet, and then you'll move your hand, you know, without you even knowing only people around you will smile. Then you'll realize, oh, I moved, you know.
Without even knowing you've been dancing for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a certain language that only your heart can respond to, you know, and a certain part of your brain. I don't know if it's the right or the left part of your brain that responds to music or creativity. But if you think about it, right now the biggest music that is putting Africa on the global map is Afrobeat.
Afrobeats, yeah.
But most Afrobeat artists, including Burna Boy, they don't even sing in English.
No.
But even my kids, your friends here, they probably sing along. They're learning a new language by force because the music is so good.
So many people in college would listen to Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, and all these songs that were, they may have had like one or two English words in there, but for the most part, I don't even understand them, you know?
But imagine if you told the same people that now I want you to go to a Yoruba class so that you can study Yoruba. They'll say, no, I have nothing to do with Yoruba. I want to learn French. But if you tell them, hey, Burna Boy, I want you to listen to this Burna Boy album and tell me how you feel about it, they'll totally
get on
listen, you know?
Yeah.
But then, so people can learn language through music, you know? So I feel that for unity amongst East Africans, we need to, I think we need to let artists become our ambassadors and our right now, if you look at East Africa, we are led by politicians for the most part. Something that America is doing that is really beautiful, that is not talked about enough, is how American government actually sends hip-hop artists and even Americana artists across the world to teach people American culture through their music. I don't know if you know about that, but the State Department sponsors artists to go to Japan, to go to Africa.
I had no idea. I thought it was just their own money. I didn't know the government would supply that.
Yeah, the US government is smart. Yeah. They're the biggest propagandists in the world, and they do that through music.
Because they know music pulls at the heartstrings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. When you think about it, when Ethiopia was going through the biggest famine in the world, there were thousands of children that were dying because of hunger. Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, may their souls rest in peace, and multiple other artists, you know, they came together and they created We Are the World. Do you remember that song?
I know that song, yeah.
And that song raised millions of dollars and solved a problem. It stopped the hunger.
Yeah.
That's one example. A second example is South Africa during apartheid, when black people were being treated like animals. It's music and activism that led to South Africa's liberation.
Wow. Yeah.
So if more East African artists can collaborate, like you and me.
This is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
On a smaller scale, that's okay though.
But, you know, even if you want to kill an elephant, I'm not encouraging people to kill elephants. You will just start with one arrow. Yeah. And the arrow compared to an elephant is very small. You know, there's an African saying that if you want to know how powerful a mosquito is, you know, spend a night with one. But a mosquito cannot give you peace. You might not even sleep just because of one mosquito, you know?
Yeah.
It will bother you. The sound of a mosquito around you, your fear of you might get malaria, and the little bite from time to time from mosquitoes will not give you peace, you know? And so it means this little effort that we are making counts. Yeah.
It absolutely does. And the older I get to, the more I see how, you know, we need to come together, you know, as people. You know, and specifically, yes, we are East African, but, you know, everyone can bring something to the table.
True.
And when we come together, we're more powerful as a team. I think, was it Kipchoge, Eliud Kipchoge, one of my favorite runners, he was saying, you know, you can go far by yourself running, but you can go even further with a team.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true.
You know?
Yeah. Collective mentality, collective effort.
And it was the collective effort that got him to break the 2 hour barrier.
That was such a beautiful moment.
Man, he looks so flawless, man. Like just so calm, after 2 hours. And as soon as he crossed the finish line, his wife was right there. He leapt into her arms, and he didn't even look tired. Man's been running for less than 2 hours and almost 2 hours, and he's incredible. You guys have great athletes. That's another thing that as East Africans we share is we have great distance runners. Yeah,
but one thing that I learned, I pay attention to the training regimen of athletes like Kipchoge.
Yeah.
One thing I learned is that he was actually running that 2 hours or more every day for like 3 months before that moment. That's why he didn't look tired. So if you're always preparing, you don't have to be ready
when the big moment comes.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Kind of going, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but representation when it comes to music. So a lot of East African music, Benga, Tarab, Afrofusion, contemporary Afrofusion, they don't get as much attention as, let's say, what we were talking about with Afrobeats, West African Afrobeats. How do you see, first of all, why do you think that is? Like, how is Afrobeats able to kind of catch on? And, how is Madaraka Festival and the work you're doing kind of trying to, not to bring Afrobeats down. No, Afrobeats is great, but let's bring up the other different fusions of music as well.
Yeah, I think Afrobeat, Nigerians particularly, they're the majority in Africa in terms of numbers. And the way the world of music works today, it's all about the algorithm, If Spotify sees that your music is being listened to by 1 billion people, Spotify and Google and Live Nation and Amazon Music,
YouTube, everything.
Yeah, these people, the people who run their artists, programs, are like, it's a community. So they will let Instagram know that this guy needs to be boosted so that he has more visibility. So it's all about numbers.
Yeah.
So there is something that happens once your people begins listening to what your music says, So that's one. But I also know that Nigerian artists have figured out music management at the global level. So they're investing heavily in proper management of their talents. They're partnering with the top global, agencies, whether it's touring agency, production agencies. They're doing collaborations. Wizkid did a song with Beyonce. That did not only put him on the global stage, but it gave him like millions of dollars. What he can do with that and what are the people around him, his ecosystem benefits incredibly from that. So the fact that Nigerian people in Nigeria are so many, they are pushing their listenership and their attention to their music very fast. But also here in the US, you have more Nigerian doctors in New York than in Lagos,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
There are so many Nigerians in America. There are so many Nigerians in Europe. So they are in positions of power. They are doctors, they are wealthy. And so they're investing in each other. The difference between other East African communities or Southern African communities or Central Africa is Nigerian people invest in each other. Just last night here in Seattle, there was a Nigerian DJ touring. He was brought here by a Nigerian promoter that I know.
Wow.
And this Nigerian promoter is also the one that brings Burna Boy and other great artists, to America. So I know that they work together, and once they discover something good, they want to take it, you know, like they want to make it great and take it, you know. I've had so many opportunities where Nigerians have approached me about Madaraka Festival.
Sure.
You know, we want to partner with you. Why don't you sell this brand to us, you know?
Right.
And I've also had situations where Nigerian promoters have gone after the same artists that I want to have on the Madaraka lineup, East African artists, you know? So the only thing I would say is East African people, if you think about it, if you brought together Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi,
Somalia,
Congo, Somalia,
yeah.
all of us together,
us, yeah.
we are many than Nigeria.
And okay. And just to, because I know the audience is going to hear this, they're going to say, why is Simon going after Nigerians? We're all Africa. You're not saying, you know, let's go against the Nigerians, but more so the Nigerians have found success. Yeah. And this is our way of finding success, right?
Yeah. I'll go after Nigeria just for a moment, and then I'll bring. I've worked with Nigerian artists, so I'm not against Nigerian artists.
Yeah.
In fact, on the Madaraka platform, we've had more Nigerian artists than Kenyan artists. So Nigerians are successful, but they're not giving other African artists the platform in a fair way. The biggest Nigerian festival globally is Afro Nation. If you look at the Afro Nation lineup, you rarely see other African artists. But if there are, you know, Young Stunner from South Africa performs at Afro Nation, but he performs at a smaller stage, or he performs at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Diamond performs at the same time, you know? Yeah. So we have to hold each other accountable as brothers and sisters, whether it's from Ghana, Nigeria, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm an artist too. I've reached out to a Nigerian promoter here in Seattle and asked him, I want to be on the lineup of your festival. And he has told me the lineup is already booked. But I am giving him space on our festival as a DJ, and we are paying him.
And they will gladly take that.
They are going to take it.
Of course.
And you will see him on the lineup. And we have been doing Madaraka for 10 years. He is just doing his festival. This is the 3rd year. He knows we've been doing Madaraka. We started doing it at, Seattle Center. He's doing his festival at Seattle Center now. So there are certain things that if you look at history, then you can actually determine the future together, you know? So for me, I'm always just transparent, 100%. I'll just tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
That if you go even in my emails, if you ask other people, you'll find out that, so that's one thing. Another thing that I really believe in is something that Nigerian artists have figured out is you have to stick to your roots and be proud of it. Don't worry about what other people say. Fela Kuti taught Nigerians and taught the world, listen to the music from your heart, not from your mind, you know? So you find a lot of Ethiopian artists or Eritrean artists, they're amazing.
Right.
But they just want to perform in the Eritrean community center. How will a Nigerian know that an amazing Eritrean artist? We have a Rihanna of Eritrea. We have a Chris Brown of Eritrea. But it's just for Eritrea. When are they going to perform in Nairobi?
Wow. Yeah. They have to expand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless the Nigerian is to come to Eritrea or in the community centers.
Yeah. I saw Burna Boy perform for 500 people here in Seattle at Showbox in Sodo. Not even 7 years ago.
Wow.
But now Burna Boy comes to Climate Pledge Arena and he sells it out.
Sells it out easy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's because he was willing to perform for 300, 500 people for years.
Wow.
But he was working on it, you know?
Yeah. So
a lot of other African artists, they want people to do the work for them. I I process visas for African artists, Kenyan, Ugandan, Tanzanian. I know artists put themselves on a pedestal. They are not humble. They charge exorbitant prices. They want to be driven in Escalades, 2025 Escalades, you know. I'm telling you, I've paid artists.
Yeah.
I work with them all the time. They have to be humble. These Nigerian artists that you see that are big, Davido will go to a club in Federal Way and ask a DJ to play his music. Even today, he's humble.
Yeah.
Even though on social media you might think he's bragging. These guys know how to get their music to the people. Other East African artists, even a Kenyan artist who is not so big in Kenya, when they come to the US, to reach them, you have to talk to their road manager, then you have to talk to their manager, then you have to talk to their promoter.
Yeah.
By the time you get to them, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
You've lost interest, you know?
Yeah. There has to be a level of humility and humbleness. And I think I can see how when people get very big and they have a team, then they develop a sense of, I'm too big, you have to talk to this and stuff. Then there's nothing wrong with that, but there is that humbleness that still needs to be intact. And I love that how you said that though, how Davido and Burna Boy, you start humble beginnings, just like this podcast. I started with just my phone, and I was just recording on my phone, and I would position it here. Okay, maybe put it on the ground. Where's the sound best? And going to here in a studio like this, it's you don't forget those days too, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure Madaraka had humble beginnings as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've done Madaraka where nobody attends. We've done Madaraka where we've lost so much money, Yeah. We've made so many sacrifices at personal levels, but I have never given up,
Wow.
Because I know it's important. It's important to me, but I know it's important to my community, And so I want to build it until people will be willing to buy the Madaraka hoodie that I'm wearing. They'll be willing to pay the tickets. They'll be willing to bring their children. The schools will be willing to bring the entire school. And one day, Madaraka will have its own venue. It will have its own tour buses, We will be stronger than we can even imagine,
Wow.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of WOMAD Festival?
No. Tell me about it.
It's one of the biggest global touring festivals in the world.
You said woman?
WOMAD.
WOMAD.
It happens in Australia, America, Europe,
Yeah.
Madaraka will be bigger than WOMAD, Madaraka will be bigger than Folklife. Have you been to Folklife Festival?
I've never been to it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Many of my friends have gone.
Yeah. I used to be on the board, and I was even the board president for Folklife,
Wow.
Yeah, so I have worked with other events and festivals to learn and bring back the knowledge to Madaraka, But I feel that we just have to have a stronger conviction
Absolutely.
in any, not just in ourselves, but in our brands, in our products, We cannot just be consumers. Here in America, most people in the African community, and even in the African American community, majority are consumers. We now need to become producers.
Yes.
Not just of products, but also of events and also of trends. When I talk about trends, I mean content, I mean fashion, I mean
content creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is beautiful, Simon. Kind of talking more about personal growth and lessons. So, I mean, running a festival for over a decade is no easy feat. I'm sure I say that, and I'm sure everyone that's listening knows that. Throughout these 11 years of Madaraka Festival, what have been some of the lessons that you've learned running a festival with, sometimes 10 people, sometimes 100, but sometimes thousands of people? What are those lessons that you learned that you could share with the audience for anyone that maybe in the future wants to start their own festival or anything?
The first lesson is never forget why you started. If you know why you started, then why should you stop? So before you start something, before you start your own festival, really understand why. Because that will tell you how long you're going to be doing it. Running a festival is not a job. It's not a volunteer opportunity. Running a festival that you're starting, you're a visionary. It's a lonely path. You're going to be alone. You're going to be rejected by your own family. Your own friends are going to think you're crazy.
Wow.
You're going to be broke. You're not going to have sponsors. You're not going to have grants. You're going to be forced to go into your own pocket. You're going to have credit card debt. I'm just telling you guys the truth, you know?
No, and this is good because we don't hear this often.
But then, if you can overcome all of these challenges, then brands are going to begin believing in you. You know?
Yeah.
Brands are going to invest their marketing money in you because you have a track record. Community members who have grown with you. Because I was just telling you, my firstborn daughter is turning 11 this month. And Madaraka Festival is turning 11 this year. So, her and her friends are soon going to be advocates for Madaraka. Soon. They grew with it. Yeah. And then friends of their friends. By the time they're in high school, this week I'm going to speak at the high school my daughter will be going to. I'm talking to the band there to play at Madaraka this year.
Wow.
By the time she gets to that high school, she will be told that, oh, this band has performed at Madaraka. Do you know Madaraka? She'll say, my dad started it. You know?
That's special.
That hits differently, you know? And it's just like Starbucks, the owner of Starbucks. You know, his great-grandchildren or children talk about it like that. The owners of Casco are just here in Kirkland. The owners of Amazon are here. The owners of Microsoft are here. The owners of Boeing are here. And the owners of Madaraka are here too. Right?
Yeah. This is, Pacific Northwest is quite a hub. It's got a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow. That is special. Whenever you bring up your daughter, and the fact that she's the same age as Madaraka Festival is special. That is, that is beautiful, Simon. Well, Simon, we are at the part of the podcast I call the deep end. And for anyone still viewing, they get the last and my favorite question that I like to ask people and wrap it up with. And the question we kind of asked before that was similar to this, but more so advice to the younger generation, to your daughter, to me, to anyone out there. And this can be a two-parter, but you know, what wisdom would you share with young East Africans specifically who want to make an impact in music, culture, and entrepreneurship? And then as well as just general advice for anyone else.
So I'll give two pieces or two words of wisdom. Number one is, or three. I'll give three.
Even better.
Yeah. Now the first one is enjoy life. Life is very short. Our parents and adults around us, most of them are always scared, you know. They live in fear because they were raised like that. My mom was one of the few fearless people I know. She took so many risks. There are very few people in our community that turned their homes into an orphanage home. Yeah. My mom did. If we had no food, all these kids did not eat. So we started, chicken, poultry business, goat keeping. We were finding solutions in the middle of problems. So the other thing is you have to choose whatever your passion is, you have to choose something you love so much that even when it's not working, you still love it. Because that passion, that love for what you're doing is what will see you through the difficult days. And then finally, when you do good, you do it for yourself. And when you do bad, you also do it for yourself. So choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it for yourself.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And that is so impactful because, it's like what goes around comes around. And whatever you do put out there, it's going to come back to you. And so that's, absolutely. Simon, thank you so much.
Of course.
That was beautiful. Before we close too, where can people find Madaraka Festival? Any plugs, anything that you want to shout out on social media? And then as well as we have some visuals if you would like to show the audience of Madaraka Festival. But yeah, this is your time.
Thank you. So number one, I just want you to know that I'm really proud of you,
Thank you.
Yeah, you remind me about myself, You see, you're here by yourself.
Yeah.
Your mom is not here. Your best friend, your girlfriend, they're not here. You're grinding by yourself on a Sunday afternoon, Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm very proud of you because it reminds me of myself, and you're going to do well just because you're willing to be alone and figure it out,
Certainly.
Number two, to everyone who is watching, please go to Instagram and find us at Madaraka Festival. If you want to connect with me personally, go to at Okelo Javan. That's at and then OKELO JAVAN. Those are our handles. But if you want to go to the Madaraka Festival website, it's www.madarakafestival.com. Now, this is... right now, I'm selling these beautiful Madaraka Festival hoodies.
Wow.
I'm wearing one, I don't know what
See if
size
we can get this
you wear. You wear small or large?
Small or medium.
Oh,
usually.
I'll have to bring it. I'll have to bring you some.
I'm assuming this is a large, right? Or extra
That's
large.
a large,
This is quite a big one. But look at this, guys.
Yeah, but I'll give you that.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Music, freedom, power.
Yeah.
I love this.
And I'll give, these are for your mom, that's for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah, so if you want to get any of these amazing Madaraka Festival hoodies, please DM me on Instagram at Okelo Javan, and we are shipping this for free across the US. If you buy 2, you get 1 for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to plug all the Instagram, all the websites in the description, so you guys check that out. Go support Simon and come to the premiere on September 6th.
September 6th.
2025 at the waterfront.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. Please join us September 6th, Saturday, September 6th. It's going to be incredible. Our lineup is 90% local Seattle artists,
Yeah.
Then the other 10%, we are bringing in 1 or 2 artists from within the US. This year is the first time in like 3 years where we are not bringing an artist directly from the continent. That's because we are avoiding visa-related challenges that we've been facing.
Certainly. Simon, thank you for taking the time.
Of course.
I appreciate you and appreciate y'all for tuning into this video. I hope you guys got something from it. If not, some fun, just some entertainment for today. So appreciate you guys. Make sure to like this video, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, and comment down below your thoughts on this video, and go support Simon. Till next time, y'all. Peace. What is up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning in to that episode. Make sure to click the subscribe, follow button, as well as the bell to get notified on all my new content that is coming out every Wednesday and every other day. And make sure to click that link in the description down below to get access to all my socials and any other platforms that I have my podcast on. And until next time, y'all, peace.